Okay, so here is the artwork that should be in your process portfolio. First off, the illustrations we did when we listened to music and we're trying to define the rhythm. Then we did several experiments with color theory. Now remember, these are just watercolors that should explore different color schemes. They don't have to be full finished paintings, but they should use a deliberate color scheme, and you should label that color scheme in your process portfolio. Oh, I should say, sorry, I know we only got like maybe 1.5 done, but since we've got the time, experiment a little bit and see if you can get 3 by the time you turn that process portfolio in. Then Mr. William led us on the Unity with Variety activity, and you did a collage. Now he had you do monochrome. I got a little excited about this, so I took it a little further. But I started by doing it all in red and then purple, and then I added some blue. I don't think this is quite done, but it's probably good enough to turn in. And so if yours is along these lines, it's probably good enough to put in your process portfolio. Now, the last thing that you should turn in is connected to that experiment, that brainstorming idea. So what you're supposed to turn in is a painting or a collage or a combination of a painting and a collage that shows what you know about movement and rhythm and harmony through color theory and unity with variety. But you may remember that what we did is responded to some paintings that we were looking at and then combining some of those ideas in a way to generate ideas for an image. Because what isn't important on this assignment is the subject matter, right? And rather than stress about what's in subject matter, if you can generate a couple of different ideas and then use those ideas, or hopefully that leads your mind somewhere else. So you might remember we were laying out these cards, and in one of your classes I was doing, you know, silly plant art, worms, and I think I kind of actually really like this one. I might do this later. Kind of an angular floral painting. However, the painting none of that you actually have to turn in. That was just the process that led you here. And so I wanted you to see that there's my final. It's a little bit different from my brainstorms, and it's okay if yours is different from your brainstorms as well. But the goal is that you're showing a complete painting. You're showing what you know about all those elements of design or principles of art that we put together. We studied, and put it together into a painting. All right, and there's mine. And it should be a finished painting, a finished, resolved work of art, not a sketch or a study like we did with that one. Okay, so there you go. That is the artwork that's supposed to be in your process portfolio. Okay, everybody, so I'm going to show you what goes into your process portfolio. Remember, this is where we wrote about the movement and the rhythm, and with these prompts you should be writing complete sentences. So please do put in quality sentences. All right, in this slide, this is where we were listening to music and drawing artwork. So what you should be doing is taking that one sheet of newsprint that has all the fun drawings on it and put it into your process portfolio. Now this isn't mine, I borrowed one of yours because I don't know that I did one with this. So whoever owns this one, thanks. It's super, I liked it, and that's why it's in the sample process portfolio. Keep in mind that the presentation counts, all right? So having a good looking slide goes towards the creating assessment criteria. In here, we should have 3 paintings that show your experiments with color theory, all right? They don't need to be finished
elaborate paintings. They just need to be show that you're trying out different color theory or color schemes, I should say, to create harmony. So you'll see I'm looking for the three. There it is. Now I've got all three in there, and as I said just a moment ago, presentation counts. So you want to have a good looking slide here. So I'm doing a little bit of editing on my image. All right, shouldn't be difficult. I've used all the same tools that you have access to do this. There we go. All right, there we go. Organizing my slide. Now in a minute, I'm going to show you how to label your images, because it's not enough to just have the photographs in there. You should also label each of the color schemes that you used. If you've forgotten, I'll put out some of the posters. I'll get some of the material ready and put out the posters for you so that you can refer to the posters for information about the color schemes. All right, so I'm going to take a minute here. I'll let you watch me label things. All right, so while I'm typing this out, I'll just refresh your memory. The color schemes that we studied were complements, which is opposite on the color wheel, and a split complementary, which is a complement with the two colors on the side of one of the colors, a triad, three colors evenly spaced apart, a tetrad, four colors, analogous, colors that are next to one another on the color wheel, and then finally discord, which is where you take a color that's outside of your color scheme and add it to bring in a little more excitement and variety. There we go. There, all good. See how nice that is presented? Yours should be fun like that too. So this slide here we did not do. All right, you can feel free to keep that one up there if you want, or also feel free to just get rid of that slide. Is acceptable. All right, in this slide, this was the class that Mr. William led us through. Right, there's some prompts, and there's a picture of Ian Barry working on one of his pieces. I'm going to get rid of it, and then I'm going to bring in my collage. Let's see here. There we go. Unity collage. There it is. Get rid of the text. That's not Ian Barry's work. That's Mr. Allen's work. Now, you should type complete sentences answers to these prompts. It's okay with me if you get rid of the scaffolding and just put in a narrative, a one-paragraph narrative where you answer the prompts or respond to the prompts, or also feel free to leave the prompts in there. Both good. It's kind of up to you, as long as you're doing a good job with the sentences. Okay, and then this is the very final one. Now, this is a totally separate painting from the one that we did earlier. This should, as I was saying in the previous video, this should be a resolved, complete painting. So, you know, put in the effort, because creating is being assessed, and creating is assessed on quality. I'm just going to I got rid of the prompt there. I'm just going to put in final painting. I think actually I'm trying to find how to do a blank slide, and that's probably what I'd do if I had a little bit more time. But I don't want you to sit here and watch me fumble about, because the important part is the presentation. So, yeah, this is me looking. All right, I'm going to give up. That's me giving up. I'm recording a voiceover now. There we go, and make sure it fits into your slide nicely. You see, I'm going to cover the whole thing, and you can do it this way as well. I'll know what I'm looking at. And then finally, you are expected to do this. This is your artist statement for evaluating assessment criteria. A headline is the big idea. 4 or 5 words that capture the big idea about movement, rhythm, color theory, unity, and variety. All right, I'll put instructions on the classroom as well so you can see. And like a good structure of the headline is, how does it differ from what you knew in February or before? And then you should have an artist statement. I used to think something something, now I think something something. Should be about 75 to 100 words, and it goes into more detail as to what your headline says. All right, I will put an assignment on the classroom and on ManageBack. You don't have to upload or turn anything in. All you got to do is make sure that everything's in that process portfolio by Friday, and I can see it. Mark it as done, and then I'll give you feedback on both the classroom and ManageBack. Hello everyone. I want to talk about cleaning up. All right, it's pretty easy to do the cleaning up. If you're using something with water, you dump the water out, give it a little rinse in the sink, put it in the drying rack. Okay, that one's wrong. If you are working with a paintbrush, you give it a little rinse, put it in the drying rack. If you've got a palette that you've been using, you rinse it off, put it in the drying rack. If you've got one of those dip pens, right, you kind of work the ink off, put it in the drying rack. If you have a watercolor palette, you leave it in the middle of the table to dry overnight, okay? That's it. Don't forget that there is a little bit of a lag on these faucets, so sometimes you turn them off and it takes a minute for them to turn off. Trust your intuition that you turned it off. Give it a moment to make sure it's turned off rather than turn it back and forth and then walk away. Okay?